Hi everyone, it's Tracy Newman from the Navigators Tarot and sleepywisdom.com, where you can find all information about what services I have to offer. There is a healing service that I offer and also a tarot reading service that I offer. So if you would like, you could go to those to sleepywisdom.com, which is my website, and look at the myriad of services that I do have in place. Okay, so this is just a Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine update for the week in this first week of April. The energies have been quite interesting lately, quite stagnant, quite depressing in some ways for the Divine Feminine and probably for the Divine Masculine as well, but I'm feeling it more, probably more from the feminine point of view. So sleep has been a little bit difficult in the last week or so, and whether that's got to do with, apparently there's a lot of energy flying about at the moment within the solar flares and that are coming off the sun, and supposedly according to some, so I don't know, we'll just have a look and see what we can find. You know, as I always say, as within, so without. So whatever's going on in our outer world is usually just a projection and a reflection of what is actually going on within all of us. So I think always it is a good choice, good thing to maybe look within whenever something is somehow upsetting or depressing on the outside. It's a good thing to look within and find out what emotions there are that are somewhat stagnant or stuck, or wanting expression in some way. So this is for the Divine Feminine. Let's see where the Divine Feminine is at the moment. Whoa, she's given up the fight. Not that there ever really was a fight, but she's given it up. She's totally come to terms with the fact that her Divine Masculine may never come to meet her on the same page. So she is, as an energy wise within each and every one of us, has decided to, I guess, move in a direction that is wholly suited to the feminine aspect of feeling and emotion. And so she is really starting to hone in on that energy. She's really, it's kind of like dying an ego death in a way. That's what I've been experiencing, I know, from the feminine within over the last week or so. Lots of feelings of destruction around and within me, on all levels, on an energetic level, frequency level, vibrational level, every level, and feeling the death presence within, and also seeing that without in our world at the moment, as our systems do slowly but surely come crumbling down. And even though we cannot see it on the surface, there is a lot going on underneath the surface, which if you are not a watcher of MSM and you look deeper and delve further, you see that the changes are indeed occurring. And as they are occurring within every single one of us, and at the moment, the Divine Feminine has basically opened up to the death of the old and is ready to release it and ready to move on into the newer energies and the newer realms of possibilities that are abounding all about her at the moment. She's no longer deceiving herself about what she once thought could be possible. She's no longer deceiving herself about any sort of old energies that have seemed to have kept her back, and within reality she's actually realised she's kept herself back. She's now ready to come into balance with her Divine Masculine, and to move ahead into the newer energies. And so she's making a choice based on that. The old toxic relationships, the old toxic stagnant energies of old, in the form of relationships, in the form of work structures, in the form of old worldly structures, and even in the old physical and emotional and psychological structures that have been within her. She is moving out of that now and moving into these newer energies. It's been quite a stagnant energy in the last week or so, where she's felt the changes within and the transformation within. And, you know, there has been some difficult emotions in the form of sadness, overwhelm, anxiety, and moving through all of those and moving outwards into a world where there are these newer possibilities coming to the fore. And she's no longer stuck in those old energies anymore. Neither does she want to be stuck in old relationship patterns or old relationship woes and you know, things that have kept her back, like toxicity in the form of what she perceives as the outer masculine, whereas it's actually been the inner masculine that has that has been the toxic precursor to, you know, her changing her life and becoming more positive in that feminine aspect because of the polar opposite. So and the mirror there that she has seen. She is quite able to look now into the mirror, find the shadow self, see it for what it is, move through it, remove it and move through it. And she's quite capable of doing that now in a very succinct and precise way. She has made choices now that are dependent wholly on her own sense of self in the world, and also her sense of self within the spiritual realm, which she has pretty much given herself up to, because there is nothing else in that physical realm that she can really rely on, because those old structures have gone. She has nothing more to hold on to. So she's now kind of like now releasing a lot of those old energies and moving forward. And that's pretty much what these cards are saying. She has recognized there are many doorways to the choices that she is making at the moment, and no longer holding on to past hurts, past conflicts. Really can't be bothered for anymore. It's time to move on and move upwards and move out of those energies that, you know, have been she has perceived as being brought about by outer circumstances, when in reality it is only a mirrored aspect within herself that she has actually come across and seen it for what it is, and now moving past that really into a sense of wholeness within herself, which is pretty much just a follow-on effect from the energies of the past week, in the past couple of weeks actually, where she is now no longer, it's like what's gone is gone and the new world is here, and it's arriving, and I'm ready to march into it. So let's see what the Divine Masculine holds within us. These are energies. Once again, I do not go by gender. These are energies. We must take responsibility for ourselves wholly and solely. Any projections that you have as far as feminine, masculine, genders, you can say that projected genders is entirely up to yourself. However, I always focus on those energies within each and every single one of us. So when I'm talking about the Divine Masculine energies, I'm talking about the Divine Masculine energies within every single aspect of all of us. So it's an energy, not a gender, because we house both energies within. And at different times we use those different aspects of ourselves. You know, quite often I know that I'm in my masculine energy, you know, because as a single woman especially, it's something that you know, comes very easily to me. And also too, being an Aries, a fire sign in Aries, which has the energy of the Emperor, which is the male masculine energy. we are very, you know, it's easy for me or you know, and some of us to fall into that masculine energy as feminines. But this is the masculine energy that is going on at the moment. We both, you know, it's interesting because both of us have this card of action. Both of us, like as in the form of masculine and feminine, both want to take action. And this may come in different forms for every single person, depending. But right now it seems to be that we're taking action on our own emotions and taking responsibility for that. And also both are wanting to come into balance now. There is no more stagnation. We both must move forward if we want to remove the old toxic ways of being and moving into the new. So we're both wanting to do that now. There has been, with the masculine, this whole stripping back and lightening of the chakra systems. The masculine has been working very, very diligently on the emotional bodies and the higher aspects of his higher aspects of being, and removing toxic traits from his ego. Because the masculine, of course, that energy is can very easily slip into that ego, that egoic material 3D world, which we are fast leaving behind. And even though the feminine has been the precursor into moving forward into that, the masculine is actually starting to really look within and start to do the work to not catch up, but, you know, like, well, yeah, I guess catch up, so that that the masculine then too can come into perfect balance. This year, the 2022, will be the year of the healing of the masculine within all of us, and so that by the year 2023 we can be fully ready to go into those new energies with the balanced aspect of both the divine and the divine masculine, the divine feminine, both the god and the goddess of the original Christos Sophianic bloodlines, and the goddess, what do you call it? The goddess aspect, but no, it's more the goddess. I'm trying to think of the word. Well, just that Christos Sophianic original goddess energy that's wanting to come through both of it, both the masculine and the feminine. And that is coming through. Look at that. The masculine is doing amazing work. You've got to give it to them. They've come from ego, deep, very dark egos, toxic shame, guilt that they've had to live with, even through the archetypes that have come, you know, through a lot of the satanic Luciferian religions and all of that sort of thing, that have used the masculine to control and subjugate the feminine, and they've had to, you know, work through that to come to where they are now, and they are doing very, very well. The masculine within all of us, those energies are doing amazingly well, and you can see that every single chakra is lighting up, and it's like they've lit their own fire so that they can move forward and move away from that toxic egoic 3D life into something much greater, far greater, and more beautiful than any of us could ever imagine. And you've got to take your hats off to the masculines, because they're doing such an amazing job. They really are. They've had to, you know, the total takedown of and the manipulation of the masculine and the feminine, when the fall happened eons and eons ago. When that happened, there was the fall of both the original god and the original goddess in the form of of the Christos Sophianic energies. And when the fall happened, they came through, totally destroyed and inverted all of those energies and used them for the darkest, for their dark occult purposes and brought that down onto the earth, subjugated the masculine, subjugated the feminine, and then forced the masculine to subjugate the feminine. So the masculine has had to really carry that shame and that guilt within their cellular structure, within the DNA structure. However, now that things are moving forward and there has been this total reclamation of the land for Jesus Christ, the reclamation of the body parts of Sophia, that all those inversions have now reverted back to their original source energy. So because of this, and I could go into it, but it's long, it's very drawn out, and you have to go through so much. And there are different versions to different stories, and these are stories, but they're stories that we all carry within our cellular structure. And because of that, we've had to really overcome a lot of darkness, and the masculine more so than anybody else, because they have the double whammy of feeling the guilt and the shame of being manipulated into subjugating the feminine, so much so that that the toxicity in their lives overran everything, every sense of what was right or wrong. That overran everything. So that's where they are at the moment. They're doing an amazing job, by the way. And also too, they're also starting to really find and see the feminine for who she is, that crone energy, and starting to actually recognize this within themselves, and how they have an ancient calling within all of them that they know is derived from that original source energy, which is the original goddess and God power, which is of course, the Christos Sophianic energies. So they're actually really starting to hone in and find that ancient way of being within their cells. And they're starting to feel that now. They're starting to actually come out of the mental body and down into the cellular structure and into their bodies. And if you look at a lot of the patriarchal religions, a lot of them concentrate on the, not coming, bypassing the feeling center, giving everything that you have to something outside of self. Whether that be mind, whether that be 3D resources, whether that be a god outside of yourself, when the feminine recognizes that, hey, everything is within here. The I am presence of all that is housed in absolutely every single cell within your body. It's a nucleus within a nucleus within a nucleus that goes back to frequency, that goes back to vibration, that goes back to all that is, that goes back to pure consciousness. So anyway, I do digress. Anyway, so that's where they are at the moment. Now, they're also taking time to rest because it's quite tough going at the moment. But they're also beginning to find that sense of self. Now, whether that's through meditation, but once again, meditation can be a trap. Meditation can be a trap. It can take you way out, somewhere, God only knows where. It gets you out of your body, into here, and not going down into the cellular structure, into the heart space, into those different chakras. But because he has been working very diligently on himself, he's actually recognized that getting into his head is not going to provide the answers that he seeks, because all of the answers are within every single cell within the body. He's also becoming the sage. He's starting to recognize that all of those gurus, deities that he's seen outside of himself cannot provide the answers that live within his own cells. And once again, when I'm talking about the masculine, I am not talking about a gender. I am talking about every single one of us. Every single one of us has done this, have been in their heads, have taken themselves out of their bodies, maybe to escape, emotions that we don't want to see or hear or feel. But experience will always you know, if you are on this journey of enlightenment and evolution, you have to come back down from that space into the body to heal every single dark energy that exists in there. And that could be a wound, and it could be a hurt, it could be a frustration, it can be any of those things. Now, the ego is a part of all of us. It is part of the personality. But, you know, the ego can also be our greatest friend if we allow it to show us the way. And this is what I feel is very important for a lot of us to recognize, that yes, the ego is, it can be sometimes, it appears as and is perceived as a negative, but in reality, the ego can actually help us to really find the truth of who we are if we allow it. The minute you try to stop the ego from doing anything that is trying to show you the way, you are denying a part of yourself, and you are denying a part of something that is all that is. It is a part of everything. Yes, you can do what you can to make friends with the ego and have it help you, but to deny its existence and to try and stop it and cut it off will only lead you to doing more of the same. I'm not talking about surrendering to your ego. I'm talking about surrendering to God, to all that is. And from there, you will actually find that once you surrender and let go, that ego ceases to become a real problem. The minute you fight anything, you fight ego, you've set up a fight against yourself. So the thing is, the masculine and the feminine now is really starting to see that that they cannot exist with one without the other. And you can look at it as yin and yang, light and darkness, whatever, yin and yang, two polar opposites. But at the end of the day, it is finding the balance of both. And both energies are now coming up for healing, for release, for surrender, for coming together and being as one. Namaste, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.